Welcome to another Fresh Face Skin podcast, Fresh Face Skin listeners, with me, your host, Amelia Goff. Today, we are diving into a chapter of life that every woman deserves to feel prepared for menopause, with my mentor, Elle Wilson, who's not only lived it, but helps women approach it with confidence, knowledge, and self compassion. Before we begin, please note that this discussion is based on personal experience and professional opinion only. It is not intended as medical advice. Always do your own research and consult a qualified health professional for guidance specific for you. Welcome to the Fresh Face Skin podcast, Elle Wilson.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, everyone. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you for making the time to speak to us all and share all of your knowledge and your experience today. So, Al, for those that don't know you yet, can you share a little about who you are and what drives your work with women, particularly?
Oh, it's a big question, Amelia. I think, I think I think that in our lives we're often called to certain things. Can't explain why. Sometimes it even goes against everything that we think we could or should be doing at a given time. But for me, to be able to support women in any way that I can, whether it's for their financial freedom, whether it's them really waking up into a new world, a new life for themselves, their children, their intimate relationships, their health, their wellness. I mean, I'm just up for that. And I have been up for that for the last 30 years. And I think that when we receive this knowledge for ourselves, what's really quite beautiful about it is that it becomes like a river and it just wants to flow out and be extended. It's not something that we consciously make a decision one day, I'm going to do that. It really is like a river that is flowing endlessly and it's beautiful. So I think some of us have little missions. I'd have people that would say to me, "Oh, Al, you have a mission," and I would say, "No, I don't. No, I don't want a mission." But really, in a way, it is a little bit of it is a little bit of a mission. It's a calling to just extend what I've received, what's been given to me, and continues to be given to me. Because of I guess the what I've accessed within me and what I've made it important to look for within me and the work that I've given my life to, which is really something lovely. So I think that yeah, that's my answer. And I think I've done so many things in my life, but I've always ended up in the same place. I'm always
Mm.
ending up with women. I'm always ending up with supporting, helping them in some way, mentoring them, writing books for them. Like it always come doing downloadable assets, anything that is like, here, take this free download. It just is constant returning back to women, and I love it. It's just sweet. It's beautiful.
And I'm sure listeners, you can hear the love that is pouring out of Al's mouth. It's very evident she's in the right place. Well, for me anyway. And I mean, I have personally experienced the impact that Al has made in my life. We have weekly sessions together, and she's a real support to me in, I would say, absolutely every avenue of my life, internally, externally. And she's bringing a lot of clarity, I'll say, back to where I'm at right now. And it's a beautiful opportunity to actually just sit with someone who you trust, who you know can support you with whatever you're going through in the moment without judgment, and really open up about where you're at. And I think we don't probably do that enough as women in the busyness of life. So it's a lovely opportunity to really pause and just sit in what's occurred over the week and to really build perspective and also grow from whatever's come through. So, Al, we know that you support women wholly in so many different phases, levels, but today you're going to support women with sharing your knowledge and experience around menopause specifically. Why is it so important that we talk openly about menopause?
Because I think that menopause is different for every human being. Every woman's going to experience it differently. I don't think that it's the same. We can't sort of put us all into one category and speak about menopause.
Hmm.
Everyone's going to experience it in their own way. So, for example, I have a friend who hardly touched her at all. She didn't even realize that it happened. For others, it's really quite a traumatic experience. So I think that I can speak about my experience with menopause and
Hmm.
premenopause too, and even premenopause. You know, when I was in my 30s, what did I give my life to? Do I believe that that has had some effect um, in now that I'm 61? I do. You know, I don't believe that we should start developing our um, I call it inner ground, inner landscape, inner world. I don't know that I don't believe we should be developing that later on in life. Let's leave that for later. Let's just enjoy
Hmm.
ourselves now. Let's not think about things like that. I think that really a wise young woman would really start to consider that to develop herself so that when menopause, premenopause, all those things start to occur, she is resilient. She's ready.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you really can get to a point where it's just so much because it is a deep change. It can be for me to say that it's a deep loss doesn't really ring true because I don't feel I've lost anything. I feel like as I'm moving through my world, I'm maturing, I'm awakening, I'm staying awake, fall asleep every now and again. What I mean by that is that I find I'm not aligned and I come back again. It's not about being perfect also. It's not about doing
Hmm.
menopause or anything in our life perfectly. That's such a big myth. It sets such high standards. And look at women in the world with these high standards. How are you going to
Hmm.
do menopause? Do your best.
Hmm.
Prepare for it. Be wise. This episode isn't for women that are premenopausal and just menopausal. It is for every single woman listening that is,
Hmm.
really has an opportunity to hear this. Prepare. Start developing like you are. That's one of the things, Amelia, that your deep willingness and sincerity to develop as a human being, as a woman, is extraordinary. That's why women should be listening to you. It's not about perfection. It's not about not falling down. It's about you fall down, you choose again, you get back up again. And
Hmm.
with each little getting back up, you're just developing yourself because you get up softly. You don't get up hard and contracted. So if you lived your whole life hard and contracted, someone used a great word, jaded. Someone used that beautiful word today. Someone I was speaking to in America, such a beautiful man. If you use your life to feel jaded, when you get to premenopause, when you get to menopause, you're going to have to deal with all of that because that's you
Hmm.
hardening something inside of you. And the
Hmm.
way through premenopause, the way through menopause is through a soft, open, beautiful heart. That's the
Hmm.
way through. Now, if
Hmm.
you haven't developed the ability to do that, it's going to feel harder. It's going to feel
Hmm.
tougher.
Hmm.
And I think that that is a key thing. And we should all be thinking about that, not becoming something or creating some version of ourselves that we think is better than the older version. We already are such divine perfection, but it's
Hmm.
about allowing that part of us that really truly is so beautiful, so perfect, to have a say, have
Hmm.
a life, have premenopause, have a
Hmm.
menopausal life. That
Hmm.
part of us that is within us. For some, it's a tiny little seed. For others, we've given it more form. That can do anything.
Hmm.
So, for that beautiful, pure part of you that is soft, open, it has this beautiful yes to life. Premenopause is piece cake. Menopause is nothing.
Hmm.
it's the other part that is not developed, matured yet, that we haven't, that's the part that's going to have the huge problems. So,
Mhm.
how much work have you done to allow and give your life, give a life, not your life, give a life to that part
Mm.
of you that knows how to live here?
Mhm.
She is stunningly beautiful.
Is everyone just listening and could listen to Al all day?
Ah,
And I'll tell you why you could listen to Al all day, because what she's saying is true. So it resonates, and you can almost feel it resonating in your heart opening when you listen to her words and the way that she's speaking right now, because she's speaking to your heart. So we've discussed, creating that ground, that anchor within Al,
mhm.
and that softness that as the feminine, I think at times we can lose. I truly believe tension builds tension. So, if we're living in that hard, tense way and we hit something like menopause that happens and creates more tension, then of course we're going to see an explosion arise.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so what you're saying is, putting that time in as early as possible to start to get to know that true inner world that we all have, and to start to open that heart and soften, and I guess just start to quieten down and listen to what is maybe going on in your inner world a little bit more rather than just the external world, would you say? And Elle does this beautifully with her mentoring. Can I just say, anyone that's listening that's resonating right now, this is what Elle does. She supports women through every stage, every phase of life, because she brings a sense of ground and anchor and reconnection to what's true. So going back to menopause, Elle, I wanted to ask you, from your personal journey, can you take us back to the beginning of your menopause journey? And were there any signs that you started to notice internally, externally, a few shifts that were going on that sort of sparked, oh, what's happening here? I haven't felt or
Yes.
seen this before.
Yeah. I was actually quite shocked. And I think premenopause started for me in my late 40s. I was very lucky as a young girl. I really didn't have many issues around my periods or anything like that. Everything, is that how you say it? How do we say that? See, you
It's
don't even,
menstrual cycle if you want to be
my
really polite.
menstrual cycle, there you are. They're the words I'm looking for, Amelia. I never had pain or I I didn't feel comfortable. I remember as a young girl in school always thinking, oh, what if, what if something happened and someone could see, you know what I mean? I always had these like very strange, like little fears in me because I remember once these lovely little sisters that were in my school, one of them got off her bike and it was obvious that she'd had a big accident. And I
Mm,
remember thinking, oh, see how impressionable we are when we're young, when we're
so
older, but when
young.
we're young. And I was horrified. I thought, that poor girl, what is she going to do? This is the most, but is it really? I mean, it's not at all. But I
As a young
actually,
girl.
I,
Mm,
I honestly was just horrified. But I didn't really have um, pain, or it was more that I was very cautious and very careful that nothing would happen. And of course, then I became it was just this, it was kind of like when I think back and I think of myself being that young, I feel like I could just put her in my arms and just give her a little cuddle now, because she really was, she was that distressed her. But really that was the only thing. And then of course, as I got older, you just become very used to it. You would understand. I was 55 and all of a sudden it happened and it just disappeared. No more menstrual cycle, gone. And
mm,
hot flashes of, started to happen while I was on camera, while I was speaking to people, while I was doing interviews. And I,
mhm. So uncomfortable. So something that we don't experience overwhelming the entire body.
well, just hilarious. I would think to myself, this is unbelievable. And I would just be throwing off my jacket or because what else are you going to do? But the
Mm,
thing is that, of course, Toby and I, we're very we do our best to stay as natural as we
mhm,
can with our when we're taking care of ourselves and our health and wellness. So I did some research and found a fabulous doctor because I was living up north then in
mhm,
Australia, in New South Wales, and he was just marvelous, so kind, so kind to me, and so what's the word I'm looking for? He really acknowledged my intuition,
mm, mm.
and I loved that. It was
How it's rare
brilliant.
for doctors to have that bedside manner, to be able to sit
I
and actually acknowledge
I,
what you're going through or feeling. Mm,
I couldn't believe it. I would
mm,
sit with him and he would literally say to me, Al, we do all the tests and he'd say, how are you feeling? You
mm,
are so intuitive. You're going to tell me. And I was just like, I was delighted. I was so thrilled because he was acknowledging a part of me that I do have, and it's
mm,
extremely strong. So to
mm,
have that just, pushed aside by
mhm,
another doctor wouldn't work really very well for me. So I was thrilled. And Toby we used to have a lovely time just going and chatting to him. But he looked after me. And of course I went on bioidentical hormones. I didn't go on the normal HRT. I
mm,
wouldn't do that just through personal choice. And he
mhm,
had a fabulous compounding pharmacy in Perth, which is called
mm,
Oxford Compounding Pharmacy, that he
mm.
recommended to me. And I don't know, I've just given them a shout out, but no problem.
Yeah, please do,
And
Elle. Yeah,
yeah,
give
well,
them a shout out. It's
they have
lovely for people to hear that.
absolutely, and they took care of me. Even when I was in Greece, they would be sending me my bioidentical hormones. They were just absolutely fantastic. Then after that, I found a specialist because he was this
Al, can I
particular doctor.
intercept? Sorry, was that
Yes.
in a cream form? Were you applying that to your body topically?
No, I actually had a patch for the estrogen, and I had all the other, and then I had progesterone, which are little capsules, and DHEA, which is very difficult to get in Europe, and I'm going back to Europe, so that's going to be a challenge.
Mhm.
And also, what else was there? Testosterone, but I didn't have that in the beginning. I only had the three: the DHEA, estradiol, estrogen,
Mhm.
and um, and the progesterone. Progesterone, extremely important,
Yeah.
extremely. And, a lot of people actually say, a lot of amazing doctors around the world will say that after 50, men and women should have like 25 milligrams of pregnenolone, which is the precursor to progesterone. So, and,
Mm.
and that can also be extremely helpful for adrenal fatigue and things like that. And there's an incredible researcher, Dr. Raymond Peat. He did a lot of work with progesterone. So all of these things were, because we had done so much research, just
Mm.
constantly we were researching, we collected all of this information. But then I did go and find a specialist in menopause and
Which was this
premenopause.
doctor?
No, another one. So I
Oh,
found
another
a,
one.
a woman, yes, who
Okay.
herself had gone through it. So Alistair was a GP. He was fabulous,
Yeah.
but he wasn't a specialist. I don't believe I needed to go and see anybody else, but I think we got hit with COVID, to be honest, and things sort of changed. She was up north. She's delightful. She was just
Mhm.
lovely, so caring. I think the one thing I want to impress on people is
Mm.
find caring
Mm.
uh, people. First, people. Find caring people. Forget that
Mm.
the doctor side of it.
Mhm.
Whether they're specialists, if they're not caring, if they're not kind, you're going through something so challenging.
Mm.
Whether
You
you
need
like
to
it or not,
find.
most people do
Yeah.
not develop inwardly. Let's be honest.
Mm.
It's not exactly, that we think when we're teenagers or in our 20s, right, we're going to develop our inner world. It's not something that is generally done, or we're even in our 40s or our 50s. Some of us do, but what I'm talking about is a real softening, a real opening, a real surrender, a real letting go. And if you're not prepared, you're going to face that. And if you don't want to surrender, you don't want to let go at that time in your life, it can be extremely, your mental health could just
Mm.
be in a mess
Mm.
because everything is changing. I mean,
mm,
everything.
mm.
So going back to Jane, who was my specialist, she was just lovely and she supported me and helped me again. Trust yourself, Elle. How are you feeling? So
Mm.
I think that I really want to impress again, find lovely, kind humans.
Yeah.
Then
And also,
add
how would you say, find someone that you connect with, that you feel comfortable with, because you are vulnerable, and I guess you need to be quite open at times with these
yes.
specialists, would you say?
And I
Yeah.
agree. And I think that a lot of things that we push down as humans, as women in our younger years, we repress. When we're under all of this pressure, and I would say I'm not a doctor, so I can only share my own experience.
Mhm.
All of the things that we have, even if you've done so much work on yourself, it's just going
Mm.
to come up, everything to the degree that you are still sitting in this body and you've got pressure and you're learning and developing to be in this pressure, you're going to have crisis. You're going to have some
Mhm.
chaos turn up. So
Mhm.
I think that it's important not to be hard on yourself when that happens, because all
Mm.
that's really happening for me, that physical extra pressure, because all of a sudden things have dropped. You don't have as much of things naturally, and you're trying to figure it out through tests and things like that. You start to feel a little bit, well, it almost starts to feel a little bit like robotic, your body that you could depend on. And we're so flippant with our bodies sometimes when we're
Mm.
younger. And
Until things change.
yeah, and all of a
Mm.
sudden,
Mm.
everything's changing, that whatever is in there that you haven't dealt with, that's the
Mm.
time the pressure. Think about coal and diamonds and pressure. Like
Mm.
you're either going to come up like a diamond or you're going to come up not. And when you're not, you've got to be kind to yourself. It's okay to mess it up. It's
Mhm.
so okay to be a lovely mess. As long as you're a lovely mess, that's the
Mhm.
most important thing.
Mhm.
Try not to, you can't pretend. If you're feeling things, speak to someone. Doesn't give
Mhm.
you an excuse. I don't believe that premenopause or menopause or even our menstrual cycle gives us an excuse or we're entitled somehow to let loose and yell and scream. I mean, we say that, I'm on my menstrual cycle,
Mm.
or
Mm.
she's premenopausal or she's menopausal. But I don't
Mm.
like giving myself those kinds of excuses. I'd rather develop through, and if I do, which I do, I'm human. I have my moments. But they don't last as long, and I don't take them as seriously as I used to
Mm.
in the past. So
Mhm.
I'm very quick to pick myself up. I'm
Mhm.
very, very, very good at being gentle with
Mhm.
myself and sometimes allowing myself to be completely vulnerable.
Mm.
And with
Which during
people
a
that,
time, especially during menopause, is a beautiful thing to do. Actually
yeah.
allow it to come up.
But I think we need to be mindful of how we're allowing it because we can create damage. You see,
Mm.
this is the thing. One of the things I have really loved developing through is entitlement. I
Mhm.
think it's extremely damaging. And if we look at the world today and we look at how entitled we humans can feel, I'm sure
Mhm.
there's probably a time where I feel it too, but I'll be aware of it.
Mhm.
I don't want to give up my power. I don't want to give up my life
Mhm.
because entitlement damages things. This isn't true. You're not entitled.
To
You're not
anything.
entitled for your husband to listen to you. You're not entitled to just let your emotions go out and for
Mm.
people to just allow it because you're menopausal. If
Because
you
you're
need
hormonal. Yes.
if you need help, that's different. Find the person where the damage isn't going to be damaging to your life.
It's almost a practical element to it, isn't there, Al? When you are
Yes,
emotional and you're feeling heightened and you're well aware you've got some changes hormonally going on that could be causing it, it's bringing that practicality. Okay, what do I need to do to take care of this or to support myself? And it is practical, really,
very
because it's a
practical.
practical thing.
Very
Um,
practical. It's beautiful what you're
yeah.
saying, Amelia. It really is. It's very, very practical. And you
Mm.
just make the decision and you're going to fail.
Mhm.
Let's just have
Mhm.
fail. Let yourself
Mm-hmm.
yell at your husband. But just then say sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to really deeply decide during this very huge time in a woman's life, what do I really deeply want? Do I want to destroy things? Do I want to
Mm-hmm.
damage things? Or do I want to build, create through this chaos? Do I want to create this thriving, sexually amazing relationship with this man? You are not done, lady. Like you
Mm-hmm.
are not done because you're menopausal. Like that is just off the table.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I believe that women during this time, wow, it's just they can turn the tables on everything the world tells you about menopause.
Mm-hmm.
I really mean that.
Mm-hmm.
Find more beautiful ways to connect with that man that you love because deep down inside you want to love and you want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that as your priority. That's the key. So reject everything else that wants to come in and tell you that you're entitled to yell and scream, I'm menopausal. Well, what is the effect of that? Be practical, like you said. Oh, that's going to damage my evening with my beautiful husband. I could be cuddled up watching a movie, or I could be
Mm-hmm.
having a fight and being in my bedroom having a little cry. What do I
Mm-hmm.
really deeply want through this chaotic time?
Mm-hmm.
And menopause is not the end, let me tell you. The depth, the wisdom, the beauty, the maturing that a woman can actually fall into through that time if she has someone beside her to direct her a little bit, guide her, mentor her, is
Mm-hmm.
deeply fulfilling. It's like I used to find it funny when people would say to me something about age. Like if someone asked me how old I was and I would tell them I was 60, I'm 61. And they would say, oh, and I would think, do you, I don't think there's anything wrong.
The number.
But you
Yeah.
see, people try and protect you in a way from your age.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need that.
No.
We just don't need that. And I'm not saying menopause is easy for women. I'm not even saying it was easy for me. I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
I am using it to continue developing as a woman. And I don't find it to be the end of anything. And I think it's a very beautiful way to see it. And sometimes it's confronting um,
Mm-hmm.
to the part of us that believes that things should stay the same. But
Mm-hmm.
then that's dull and boring, isn't it? Like if you
Mm-hmm.
can't do something one way, then you have to open up and it's a big adventure to do something in a different way. If your face changes, oh, really? Well, why did you
Mm-hmm.
think that was never going to happen? Like whoever told you
Oh
that?
my
What sort of a
God.
myth is
Well,
that?
whoever told you that? The world, but
Yeah, but
the whole industry. But
but
yeah,
but you
it's
see,
it's
the world,
natural.
yes, but the world will tell you that. But then what part inside of you wants to believe
Yes,
that? That's the
yes.
point. Because the
And this is
world
that
will
inner
tell you.
connection we were talking about earlier,
Yes,
building that
yes.
ground, building that anchor, so that you have the voice internally to listen to when these external voices come to distract you, whether it is, I'm going to yell at my husband, or I don't want to age, I'm going to fill my face, whatever it is. No judgment, of course, but it's bringing that level of depth back into your world, I guess, your everyday life. Al, thank you for sharing all of that. That was beautiful. Can I ask you personally, are you still on your hormone support?
Yes,
And
I
is
am.
that something, I mean, is it each to their own? What is your
Yes,
doctor you're
I
working
agree.
alongside
Yes,
recommended?
yes,
Is
I
it a
think
lot,
it
is it like
is.
a certain amount of time, or do you get regular blood tests and then she sort
Hmm.
of reassesses? Yep,
Very
that's
important.
the
Yeah.
process. Yep.
So very important to do that. Have your regular blood tests. Have a great doctor. Have
Yeah.
someone, like we said before, that cares about you. You're not a number.
Shout out your doctor again, Al, just for those that missed it, your female doctor.
Her name is Dr. Jane Raffel, and she is in Bangalore, I think, now. I think she's moved clinics, but the Oxford Compounding Clinic is the one that I was referring to about for
Yes.
the bioidentical hormone.
Bioidentical. Yep.
They're great. They've
It's
been
just
around for a
nice for
very,
people
very
to
long time.
research these things, research these
Yes.
things see what they find. They may find her, they may find another doctor that aligns with similar things that she does. It's just nice to have that basis for people that are
Oh, I agree. And I think that
hearing
this
what you're saying.
this particular compounding chemist, I actually used to get them to post my um, my prescriptions across Australia because they're in Perth. Even when I was in Australia, I could go up the road and get them, but I would
It's
get
amazing.
them because
Yeah.
they were
Well,
recommended
they
to
were
me
very
actually.
easy.
Well, they were recommended to me by my first GP, and I just respected him so much, and he'd used them for such a long time. And I think that's how you have to connect the dots. You know, you don't, you're not on your own. Find a really good doctor, see who they recommend, do your research. And, I think we can tell with people pretty quickly, if they're sincere and genuine.
Yes.
And you will look for your own values. You will attract people that have the same values as you. Um, and I think all of that is well
Important.
good. So, I think they've done studies now which say that bioidentical hormones, you can continue to have them and there's no problem. I think it's different with just normal HRT. I don't know anything about that and I don't research it and I'm not really even interested in knowing anything about it. So, but like I must admit, like I did have symptoms, but like I do know that there are some of my friends have had terrible symptoms. So you're
With menopause, you
with
mean?
menopause,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
premenopause, because then you're even to the point where they've got to change the sheets during sleep. They're
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
woken. There
Yeah.
are women that have had breast cancer that can't have bioidentical hormones. This is
Yeah.
such a complex issue. So we have to, like with all our heart, we have to just gently and lovingly tell women that, wow, it's a big thing.
Mm.
And
And we
it's okay.
recently, my team Al in at Fresh Face Skin, we did menopause training probably about 18 months ago now. And something that stood out to me for those that are listening is perimenopause can start as early as 36.
Yep, true.
So
Mm.
that's when it can start. And the signs for you to look out for would be periods that aren't regular. That's sort of the first sign. When you've finished or hit menopause, sorry, is when you haven't had a period for a full 12 months.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's when you are in menopause.
Mhm.
Perimenopause, usually they are irregular, ongoing until you get to that 12-month mark of no period, and then you're in that menopause stage. So for those that are listening, that's just a few facts for you if you're unsure. When you were on your bioidentical hormones and then seeing this female doctor for support, what were the first signs of change, improvement, support that you noticed in way of, say, your hot flushes that you were going through, maybe mood
Well,
changes?
yeah. Good question. I think that they weren't happening as often,
Yeah.
almost not at all. I would say it's very hard to know because it's not like I mean, as soon as that happened to me, soon as I started having hot flashes, I call them flushes. Do you realize that? I actually do that. And I did that for years.
Flashes?
They're flashes.
Oh, they're hot flashes.
They're not flashes. I think
I
they're
thought it was
flashes.
flash.
No, I think it's
Oh,
flash. You check that,
hot
Amelia, but I have
flash.
a feeling
Yeah,
that
I'll
it's
check
it's
it.
a
Hot
hot
flash or
flash.
flash?
Well, flash or flush, it doesn't really matter.
I get the flash though because it's quick, it's instant.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I actually laughed at myself. But now I
Yeah.
can't even remember which one's the right one. You might have to check them. But I
I'll
think for
check it.
me, it wasn't, I think really it was more the flashes that were the thing for me. And then, of course, over time you start to realize your skin changes.
Yeah.
Um, I
More
am
laxity, more dry,
No,
all
not
those
really
things.
dry for me. I mean, I had my wonderful serum that I used to make, so I always
Yeah.
had that. So I
That
always
was
use that.
supporting
But
externally. Yeah.
what I love about your products, and I use them, but what I love, because I don't make my serum now anymore, is
Mm.
the barrier. Oh,
Yeah, barrier support. And for
women
a
just,
female going through menopause, can I just say, you know, we lose our oil, that progesterone, that estrogen, it directly impacts our hyaluronic acid production, our oil production from the inside out, obviously our collagen as well. But most women tend to get either dry or they notice their skin's quite thin, depleted. It's showing laxity signs quite quickly. Some women have come into salon and actually said it's almost happened overnight. Like I woke up and I've just noticed this shift. So for us, like you're saying, our barrier is, well, it's the
oh,
entire skin
it's
range, but it's such an
absolutely.
important element.
If there is one, like I'm going to go into a couple of things that I really feel are truly important, but that is one of
Yeah,
them. And I think that
barrier.
it's so wise, so insightful of you, Amelia, to focus in on that because we have to understand what the barrier does.
Mm,
It's so powerful. It's so important. It's just, it doesn't make sense to do all these other things and strip it away and do awful things, really, to our skin, hoping it's going to get better when the very core thing that nature has put there in place
hmm.
is not being
It does.
protected. And
Yeah.
I have to say, look, I as a ex beauty professional, well, I still am.
Mm.
I don't practice, but I worked with skin for many, many years, and honestly, I the barrier is just queen.
Well, it's key. And I mean, those that are listening know I rant on about the barrier a lot. So, what I'm saying, you've probably heard, but without it, we don't have hydration, we don't have protection, we don't have, you know, slow, healthy absorption of products. We're more exposed to water loss, all of it. And for a
Exactly.
woman that's going through hormonal changes, actually through every stage, can I just say, because the barrier is compromised really for a woman throughout every stage of hormones because of the oil being interrupted mainly. Barrier for a menopausal woman, whatever stage you're in, is the first thing you need to look at. And that's looking at products that target oil and water together, that are making sure that you've got this beautiful lipid protective layer and you've got these optimal water hydration levels within the skin. So your skin actually not only can protect itself, but it can also work in a really harmonious, balanced way. And during menopause, what we tend to see is this barrier has been stripped due to the hormonal changes and that change in oil and hyaluronic acid production. So that's the first thing we look at. And we also look at high quality omegas. I know you're on cod liver oil, aren't you, Al?
Yeah, I will.
Yep.
I often take that. Actually, ran out now that you've just reminded me.
Yeah.
But
There's some
normally I
form
do
of
that.
omega support
So important,
internally.
so
Yeah.
important. And for example, Dr. Ron Rosedale, who we can have a quick chat about. I
Actually, I
absolutely,
like that was on my list to ask you about
yeah. Oh,
because
good,
we can
good.
talk about it
Yeah.
now if you like. We can flow on to that because what I really wanted to ask you about was there any holistic internal support that
Mhm.
you researched, that you did, are still doing, that has really contributed to supporting you throughout these phases of
Mm,
menopause?
yeah. Well, Dr. Ron Rosedale, who's written the and created the Rosedale diet, which I found out about in my 40s when I had my thyroid had just gone just through the roof at one point. And you would think, how did that happen? Why did it happen? The interesting thing is that at that point, I was in salon and I was um, not really, I'd sort of almost like lapsed a little bit in my inner care. In other words,
Mm,
I wasn't meditating. I wasn't as mindful as I usually am. And my body just went, there you are. And that's me. That's how sensitive I am.
mhm.
And I've always been like that. From the minute I was born, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Right. It just like that physically. So in a way, I see that as such a gift
Mhm.
because I'm ahead of things. So even when it happened, Toby and I had just gotten together, and he suggested to me Ron Rosedale because he had read his book. And so I looked at the book, and it is eating for your hormones. And so I started eating in that particular way, and I just completely leveled out my thyroid. So
Mm.
high fats, good fats, no starchy carbs. And I wanted to say something about that just earlier, actually. So this is good that we're onto this. No starchy carbs and a little, and not too much protein, just it's in his book. His book is fantastic. I recommend everyone get the Rosedale Diet and read it because it's helpful for fertility. You have to understand that he's talking about leptin, and leptin is the master controller of the thyroid. So you want to be leptin sensitive. Fertility, heart disease, diabetes. Like this book, this is not me. I just love the book, and I love practicing as best as I can what Ron speaks about. I've interviewed Ron, and Toby had actually done some of his class, like actually taught the Rosedale Diet in Australia for a while. Amazing, absolutely amazing human beings, such integrity, such authenticity as a researcher and a doctor. And he's so worth reading cancer.
Mm.
What do they
And you
do?
know what's interesting about all of this, Al? It's like that internal inflammation, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's really all it is from processed foods, from, life, everything that we tend to put into our body, even if we're trying to make good choices. But stress, all these things combat.
Well,
And
that's a big one, isn't it? Stress.
yeah, yeah.
And I
But
think
his diet, from what I'm hearing, is highly anti-inflammatory from what you're shouting out. Would you agree?
absolutely, absolutely. But the interesting thing about all of that is you could be doing all the best things. And one of his most important one of the most important things he says is about cod liver oil. That's how when you mentioned that, and that's if there was one supplement that people took, just one, it would be that one. That's what he recommends. And
Mm.
always to be nitrogen sealed, and have a look at the expiry date. It shouldn't smell fishy, should be fresh as you can get it, and not in capsules because it oxidizes. And if you're having cod liver oil that is oxidized, he mentions that it's worse than not having any at all.
Yeah.
It's actually worse.
I say similar things to, I constantly educate our clients about this with
So
omegas. It's so
important.
important. Look at the company, how they manufacture, the quality. I always shout out Nordic Naturals because they are renowned worldwide for their manufacturing process and the quality. Also looking into whether it's farmed or not farmed in way of the fish, because when you're going farmed, you've got quite inflamed fish that they're stressed, number one, because they're being
Yes.
force fed very quickly. What are they being fed as well? Man-made, mass-produced sort of feed. And then you're putting that into your body, and often, like you're saying, Al, it can actually do the opposite of what you're hoping it would do, because it can actually
Oh,
be quite
yes.
inflammatory rather than anti. So it is important just to do your research with your supplements, especially when it comes to any type of omega, cod liver, fish oil. Yeah, do your research. Very, very important.
It's
I
very
agree.
important. Like you can go into one of those
Take it in your body.
discount chemists, and they've just got, all
Anything.
these capsules filled with cod liver
Mhm.
or fish oil, and people really want to do the right thing for
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of a little bit sad, isn't it? Because you expect that, don't expect. This is another thing.
Yeah.
Don't
Maybe question
expect
things more.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't expect
Yeah.
that just because it's in a pharmacy or something, even in an organic store, that
Yeah.
they're taking care of you.
Good.
You have to
Yeah.
take care of you. This is the accountability, and this is
Yeah.
where drop the expectations. You will be a much lovelier person to be around when you don't have expectations of others. Like, do it, really be accountable for your health, and it's just such a wonderful thing. That's what self-love is
Mm.
accountability. It's not
Yeah.
like, well, the government should do it. No. Which
Mm.
government on this planet is doing that truly for
Mm.
us?
Mm.
How many things does the FDA let through that shouldn't be
Mm.
let through, really, when you start digging really deep? And
Mm.
so many other organizations. I
Mm.
just don't go to an organic store and not pick up the ingredients and check the company. I don't do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's very,
Reminder.
very important. It's very
Yeah.
important. And I
I
wanted to
talk
just
about
say
it. Sorry,
Go ahead, Amelia.
continue.
Sorry, no.
No, you
I
go.
just was going to say about sugar.
Yeah, please.
And I'd also like to speak about sugar and stress. Like for me, I don't really eat sugar. Um, I don't like it. I'm not lucky. I don't, I'm so fortunate. I'm much more savory, but I think that's my Greek origin, really. But I don't really like it. So I don't, if you said to me, here's a cake and here's a beautiful cheese platter with olives and, whatever, I'd probably pick the cheese platter. So I do
Mhm.
feel for people that, love chocolate
Get
and
those cravings.
yes,
Yeah.
but I do have to say that if you read the Rosedale diet, even when you're younger, see, because Ron talks about even cancer, when someone is diagnosed with cancer or they're testing for cancer, they use a machine that measures the glucose in the body. So you have to understand that if you just keep putting sugar inside your body, you can take your power back and have a look at the effects of sugar. Read that book. Read the
Mm-hmm.
book and start preparing yourself. It doesn't mean you're missing out on things. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything being on a keto diet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that once your brain clicks over, your relationship to food completely changes. Like you'll see
And the body responds, Al. They say, it takes around 28 days to form a habit. So it can be the hardest time when you're really reforming your natural choices throughout the day and you're going, say, towards a keto or the Rosedale diet, something like this. My mum, by the way, has had amazing results on the keto diet. She's really cleaned up her diet and she's loving it. She also doesn't crave sugar anymore. She wasn't a big sweet tooth, but she was a bit of a picker carb-wise. And she's had amazing results with her weight as well. Not that my mum's ever been a big woman, but post menopause, mum's finished menopause now. She was just noticing more stomach weight and more around her waist. We lose that waist post menopause naturally due to the changes, but also diet, metabolism. She's really found it's shifted so much of that. She feels more herself. She's got more energy. She's not, dipping in her energy in the afternoon anymore. And exactly like what you're saying, Al, it does become, she doesn't crave sugar anymore. She doesn't pick anymore. She's not craving carbs anymore.
it's
She's,
amazing.
yeah, because the body responds. You just have to give it that time, be patient and consistent with it. And it really does. And of
But
course, she has
yes.
every now and then she'll have a little bit of
Oh,
something. It's a special occasion. She's
absolutely.
balanced.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but she's really actually enjoying it. I'm really proud of her because she's never been one to diet or anything like that. And she's loving it. She doesn't feel like it's a diet.
Well,
It's more of a lifestyle change.
I think for me, the only reason that it works is because I increase my good fat intake. See, when
Yeah.
people do no carbs, that's
Mm,
terrible, and don't
mm,
increase their fat intake, good fats. If you
yeah.
don't do that, you're not going to be able to sustain it because the whole
Yeah.
point of it is to turn your body into a fat burning machine instead of a
Yeah.
glucose burning machine. So if
Yeah.
we're just doing keto without increasing our good fats,
Fats.
then we
Yeah.
are not going to be able to sustain that because at some point you're going to be using your
You're going
will.
to be hungry.
Yeah, you're going to be using your willpower instead of
Yeah.
allowing your body to go, oh, I'm a fat burning machine. And you're lying down sleeping and you're burning fat. So,
Yeah.
I can tell when I go off that. Sometimes if I feel like I need carbs, I'm going to eat carbs, and I don't have guilt or shame. And I'm an ex-anorexic bulimic person. Let's just
Mm,
mention that in
mm,
my, early 20s. So can
yeah.
you imagine being able to do that? And you're just like completely clean of it because your brain
Mm.
you're using your brain to help you eat properly.
And let's also be clear, our brain needs good fats. Remember that, everyone.
Oh,
So,
amazing.
when we're
Yes.
feeding our body with good fats,
Yeah.
the brain is also thriving.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is important for us as we're getting older too. All of these things
Mm.
are important.
Al, thank you for sharing all of that. And just quickly going back to the fish oil, what I was going to say was I talk about this a lot when it comes to also skincare. It's almost just bringing a level of discernment to the marketing and the claims that you're just reading and seeing when you walk into a department store or a chemist or an organic store or whatever. Just do your own research. I just wanted to sort of finish with that because it's the same with skincare, it's the same with supplements, whatever you're putting on your body, whether it's topically or internally, just learn to question things a little bit more because marketing has gone through the roof. It's another level now, what we're seeing, what we're hearing. So it's almost just learning to go that little bit deeper, to research that little bit more because it's really important what you're putting and you're internally putting into your body.
I 100% agree. And can I add something to that, Amelia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than also even doing your own research is wonderful, but
Mm,
find the people.
mm.
Find, like, I mean, your audience is so fortunate to have you.
Thank you.
Find the woman that has devoted her career, her
Mm,
work to offering something so impactful to the skin
thank
and so caring and so kind and genuinely cares. I think when you find those people, those voices, and especially when companies, I mean, there's been many companies that have started like this and gone off. Don't look at a big, huge name and think they're going to take care of me. Go to
you.
those companies that are the most amazing boutique companies. The founders are in there working, doing the formulating. It
Mm,
means something to them. And when you
mm,
have someone with the kind of knowledge that you have, which is evident in your podcasts and how you share information, um, people can really trust that. And
mm,
and I think that sometimes we need to find the voices and do
mm,
our own research, yes. But once you find a
mm.
voice that you trust and we know.
Makes it a little easier, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, it does, yes. I really believe that. And there was something else I wanted to say, but you know what happened is that I can't remember it, and that's a shame because it was a really good
It'll come
point.
up when it's meant to. I know it will. You always remember.
I know,
I
it's
wanted
sort
to
of like
ask
going
you,
to me. Yeah, go ahead.
as
Sorry.
we're flowing, if you could give women three daily habits to support themselves through menopause, whether it's peri, during, post, what would they be? Three tips.
Mm. Be kind to yourself when you think you've failed, you've made a decision where you might have said something or you felt just like, because you've got anxiety or you have core tension that's like knotting up inside of you and you might say something. Just get really good at being kind and then extending that kindness through saying sorry really quickly to the other person. Um, Give up being entitled. It's not a right, and you will find such a lovely human being underneath entitlement that is just sitting there just going, hey, what about me, I'm here.
Mhm.
You will find more of you, that a part of you that you will love so much when you give away entitlement, and you will find that other people will absolutely love being around you. Even when you're going through this chaotic time, they would just be looking up at you thinking, wow, this is unbelievable. And then when you do, I don't think we're ever failing, but when you do, let's just use that word, when you do lose it, people around you are going to be far more available to you and
Mhm.
compassionate. Never ever stop saying sorry if you mean it, and just be gentle and kind to yourself.
Mhm.
And the other one I would say is find a mentor,
Yeah.
find someone that whose voice resonates with you. It, that's such a personal thing, and use every single day to develop as a human being. There are so many inner resources that women have available to us, human beings have. But women, we're so feeling. We have these incredible surface feeling centers that oh, there is so much women can do. So I would say keep developing, make that your priority. And it's not the end. See it as an adventure. I think that's number 4. Sorry, Amelia. As an adventure, as
Yeah.
you're moving through something that's really challenging, but you're there and you're showing up and you're present and you are not menopause. You are so much brighter, so much more capable. And you just say to yourself, I can do this, just gently. I can do this. I say that to myself quite often. I can do this because we can. I have another one. Shall I just share
Share your 5th.
this last one? Don't resist premenopause and menopause. Don't be against it. Don't say one tiny word that's bad about it. Because when you resist something, you strengthen it.
Yeah.
You make it harder. So don't let menopause or premenopause, as my beautiful friend today said, don't let it jade you. Don't be jaded by it. Just really be an allowance and accept it as a beautiful new era in your life. And do the
And what
best
lesson
that you
are you going
can.
to learn? What are you going to learn? Look at it that way as well.
Yeah, so much
And
to,
do your best.
yes, just do your best. And sometimes that looks awesome and sometimes that looks not awesome, but it's okay.
We're all human. We're all doing the best we can.
We're doing the best we can. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom and experience, and also just giving a new perspective on menopause. It's such a big word, I think, that's used. And I hope the women that are listening to this, whether you're younger, whether you're older, whether you're in menopause, perimenopause, it just brings more clarity to what's ahead, what you're going through. And yeah, I guess more support and perspective on what this really is for a woman, truly. So menopause is not a loss of who you are, but an evolution into a new stage of strength and wisdom. When we view it with openness, compassion, and the right support, it becomes less about what's ending and more about what's beginning. This chapter can be one of empowerment, vitality, and a deeper connection to yourself if you allow it and embrace it. I'll thank you for your wisdom and for your honesty with your experiences today.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Really, it's lovely.
No, it's been lovely. And thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, Fresh Face Skin listeners, and for tuning in to another Fresh Face Skin podcast. I hope today's conversation left you feeling educated, inspired, supported on your own skin journey. If you loved this episode, please follow along on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and share it with someone who would benefit from hearing it. You can also connect with me and the team at freshfaceskin.com.au or on our Instagram, freshfaceskin. Until next time, remember, healthy skin is balanced skin, and true results come from supporting your skin, not fighting against it. Thank you all, and I'll see you for another podcast shortly. Take care until then.